Let me introduce the first speaker, who is Daniel Kebede, the General Secretary of the National Education Union, who is hosting this meeting.
So, comrades, it's my real pleasure to welcome you to Hamilton House, the home of a union that I'm very proud to lead, the National Education Union. Now, this weekend marks an important moment, one that began in Paris and now gathers in London. That so many of you are here from across the UK and from across Europe makes clear that something special is happening. We are gathering this weekend to build a peace movement that must resist and ultimately defeat those banging the drums of war around the world, most loudly in the USA, but echoed by the governments across Europe. Today, terrible wars are raging in Iran, Sudan, the Congo, Palestine, Lebanon, Myanmar, Ukraine, and many other parts of the world. Global conflict is at its highest level since the Second World War, yet the military-industrial complex continues to demand more spending on so-called defence at the expense of investment in public services at home and spending on aid overseas. It's a perverted world where half the global population doesn't have enough food to eat, yet military spending globally reached a record 2.9 trillion in 2025, the 11th consecutive year of growth. Our growing movement for peace says enough is enough. Stop the wars, end the escalating military spending that drives more wars, invest in people, invest in peace, and invest in our planet. But our movement must also resist and defeat the rising far right, which poses an existential threat to all of us. In the UK, the failures of liberal democracy and the pain inflicted by austerity has fueled support for far-right groups like Reform and Restore Britain. And we've seen a rise in outright fascism. Riots in Belfast, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Southampton and elsewhere, fueling racism, carrying out pogroms against immigrants, burning people out of their homes because of the colour of their skin. Across the UK, Europe and around the world, the far right is organising. Our movement's response must be clear: to organise better and bigger than ever before. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. I am quite a football fan, and some of you may know there's a men's World Cup tournament going on at the moment. But my excitement is tempered by the fact that the USA is the leading host nation. What a disgrace that FIFA awarded Trump the so-called FIFA Peace Prize. Before the tournament had even started, the US had refused entry to the head of the Palestine Football Association and turned away a Somali referee at the US border despite him having a valid visa. Yet FIFA drags its feet when it comes to the killing of more than 500 Palestinian footballers. It ignores calls to suspend the Israeli Football Association and allows Israeli clubs based in illegal settlements to continue to participate. So long as the people of Gaza continue to be starved and the Palestinians in the West Bank are terrorised by armed settlers and the IDF, Palestine must remain at the forefront of our agenda. But the pressure exerted by our global solidarity movement is beginning to have impact. In the UK, the Labour Party is experiencing the consequences of its failure to oppose Israel's ongoing genocide, with thousands upon thousands of people deserting the party. Over half of former Labour voters who have left the party cite its handling of the ongoing genocide as a factor for their decision. Among young voters, 2/3 say it's the main reason for switching their vote from Labour. 10 days ago, the UK, alongside Australia, Canada, France, New Zealand and Norway, announced new sanctions targeting networks linked to settler violence in the West Bank. The UK also announced £11 million for the recovery efforts in Gaza. Now, these measures are nowhere near enough, but they do demonstrate it's our movement in solidarity with Palestine and against war that is having effect. We must keep up the pressure on governments across Europe and globally, and we must never stop talking about Palestine. Our movement must also expose the challenge, the concentration of wealth in the hands of a small global elite and the rising inequality we see around the world. The number of billionaires now exceeds 3,000 globally. Elon Musk has become the first trillionaire, yet 1 in 4 people do not have enough food to eat. Almost half of the world's population lives in poverty, whilst the world's 12 richest billionaires possess more wealth than the poorest half of humanity. The global super rich are not simply buying yachts, mansions and football clubs. They are using their massive wealth to buy political influence via social media platforms. Still, our children's data prey on our young people, shape media narratives, promote the politics of hate and division, and dismantle progressive policies, posing a serious threat to democracy ourselves. So colleagues, we do have a very big job ahead. We must take on the warmongers, the far right, the genocide inflictors and their apologists, as well as the global mega-rich. It won't be easy, but together we are up to the task. There is no group of people I would rather stand beside in that fight than the people in this room and the people in Westminster Central Hall tomorrow. So to all of us in the UK, across Europe and globally, I say, venceremos, we werden gewinnen, we shall overcome.